shifter. What? I'm a shifter.
Welcome in, my good people. I'm your host, J Wandoe, and you have officially entered the dope spot. Join with me is one of my partners. I met my man's Melvin, as you see here. Melvin, I met him in England. We were in Oxford, England, and we both are serving in the military with our wives, but we both veterans. So you're like, how does that work? Well, we dependents. So that means when I move or when they move, we move. And so that immediately formed a bond between us. And so here we are nearly 3 years later. He decided to come on with me and share some of his knowledge, some of his wisdom, tell y'all a little bit about his past. So welcome in, Melvin, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, bro. It's a pleasure to be here. Honored to be joining you on this.
For sure. Whenever you hear Wandoe, because you met me as Dro, so whenever that came across your screen, when you start seeing me evolve, I guess, into this person, what is something that you like that came across? Would you like, what's he on? Or because I've never asked you this before, so I kind of really want to know people's insight on where and why I guess I started from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I always love to see people in general, but us as Black people grow and do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we met through basketball at first. You got to the base. I think I in process you and your wife. That's probably how.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yep.
And we know you was looking for a job at the at the CDC.
At CDC, yeah.
I was like the person that worked everywhere on base. So I had worked there before. So I think that's how we initially met. Then it led to basketball. So yes, I met you as the husband and father, and then we started hooping together. So that I met Dro, and Dro's a character.
Very much so.
I love Dro because I want somebody that's gonna be straight up with me on the court too. Like, so hey, if I'm doing it, let me know. If you're doing it, I'm gonna let you know. So from Dro to Wandoe, it was like, and then you go into your different education stuff that you're trying to do and your podcast and everything that basically the reason behind it was you trying to bring this light to our community. So, bro, everything you do, I'm here for it. I support it. I love the growth. And
that's why we're here. I appreciate that. That's made me feel good, man. About maybe emotional a little bit because I asked that because a lot of us do things and we do it for ourselves initially. You can't help it but to say like, I want to put myself in this spotlight, or else you would be doing volunteer work. You wouldn't ask for money. You wouldn't ask. I don't think you would put so much into it if it wasn't for you. A little bit for you. When I pride myself on what I do, who I am, but I don't always think about how I say things. And Melvin and our boy Greg, shout out to Greg. He was one of them people who would check me on that. And I wouldn't take it well at first, but I went home with it. I definitely took it home. I wasn't on like, man, forget them. This is what I feel. Like he said, on the court and in other areas, we were both able to take it in. It was never on some like we about to swing on each other, but it definitely got heated. But I think that's better than swinging on each other. That's better than putting it out on somebody else because that emotional.
That's how we grow and bond as men.
Yeah, for sure. And so coming from, Melvin's from the Florida area, and exactly where are you from Florida?
So I grew up in Tampa, Florida. I tell everybody this: I'm from Florida. I'm from Tampa, but I was born in Mobile. So born in Mobile, Alabama, but mom and dad was never married. Like I'm a high school kid. Like they had me when they was supposed to that school.
Same.
She moved back to Tampa. He stayed in Mobile, so I would go back and forth. But most of my life, I only did 4 years of school in Mobile, so most of my life was in Tampa. So that's where I say I'm from.
So you got the Panhandle, and you got pretty much Central Florida tied all into each other, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. That Tampa was one of those places when I was stationed down in Valdosta. Tampa was one of the places I frequent. I was down there a lot, Ybor City, all that. And but I knew where to stay away from. If you ever been to Florida, especially in that, I say late 2010s and early 2010s, late 2000s, whatever it is, and then late early 2010s, you kind of know how the era was. And I don't know what it was before that, but that was the time I spent down there, 2008 to maybe 2013. And you know what areas to stay away from, or if you didn't belong there, I ain't say stay away.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been a lot of places. I just didn't know I was supposed to be there or not. You know what I'm saying? So that brings me to basically the discussion of the day. You know, where are we supposed to be when it comes to our positions in life? Us as men, like we said, serving as father. We're fathers already. I'm a father of 3. Melvin's a father of 3, and we do have our wives. They're serving in the military. But what's our role? How are we viewed? And when we do say things, when we do speak up, are there things that's taken away from us in that moment because we may not feel like we're positioned in a way to be the leaders that other people may see? And as we go through this internet phase that we're in right now, where everything's kind of out there, Melvin and I had a conversation earlier, and one of his friends called him, and he was saying his social media presence wasn't where it was, and it was based on Melvin having some personal things go on. And I talked to a couple of friends before, and they say, well, I think about stuff like that. If I see that you're very active and all of a sudden that stops, I might question that. Well, some people may not even think about it. They don't cross their mind at all because of who we're following, because we're following so many people. And ultimately, we're really not that close. We're not as close as we may think we are to somebody. And to ask them, hey, what's going on? So as far as like your takes, man, like how do you either for one overcome or get through life serving in your position, and when it does come to the social media world, like what does that mean to you? And because we came in the game, it was no Instagram, it was a different world like how it is now. So yeah, I'll let you speak freely, brother.
That's a big question, and honestly, it's like you said, we had nothing at first. Then we had the MySpace, Facebook came, Instagram, Twitter. Now everything's here.
Mm.
And some I don't even frequent with, like some of the young, some stuff I think it's for kids, like Snapchat and all the TikTok.
Sure.
I don't even really mess with those for real. Like I have a TikTok, I only had it to watch videos, really, because
for sure.
stuff.
Understood.
Yeah, when it comes to the social media and how the world is now, a lot of that stuff can shape people and how they move and what they think. Because I can't lie, when the Godfather came around, it did kind of get me, Kevin Samuels. It was like it's somebody speaking for us, speaking for men. Like you may not agree with everything this dude says or how he may talk to people or certain women, but a lot of us as black men was like, man, I kind of resonate with some of the stuff that he's saying. Like,
Right.
I feel like that in my home. So it's like, and then especially with us, like we both served, so we both went from that. Okay, if you look at it, it's like a equal status with our wives because we were both all in the military together. But then we get out and they stay in, and now if you're not having like a strong foundation with you and your spouse, stuff from the outside can make it seem like, oh, now you're less than because she stayed in and you got out. So now
people don't even know the circumstance behind it.
Yeah,
it don't even matter.
It really don't. It's just you looking at as even my own grandmother. Like I told you, like I don't even call my own grandmother that much because one, this is kind of like off topic of the question, but my father had died in October 2019 work accident. So that kind of initially led to it because every time I called, that's all she would want to talk about. And I'm like, also, I know we both grieving. I'm trying to get over it. She trying to get over it. But every time we talk, that's the topic. That's the topic. And it's like, I don't want to hear that all the time.
For sure.
And then it got into why'd you get out the military? You should have stayed in. And now it's coming like being like almost in competition with my wife. Like, this is that. So it's like, at the end of the day, I just kind of just stopped calling her for real just because of that. But now I'm actually at this point, the way the economy is right now is like so bad that I've looked back into trying to get back in just because I look at
you got time's ticking too, because they pushed the age, but it's the opportunities there. You still got some time.
Yeah, looking at it, I'm like, man, the way the economy is, like, the dollar ain't equaling what it used to no more. Like, with I got the vending machines here and there, got 8 of those, but it's still like, man, I'm just almost just barely making ends meet. So that even made me go back into looking like, hey,
Hey, we're not gonna slide past the entrepreneurship, Melvin. I did mention that before we started, so let's talk real briefly. Is yeah, and vending machines. When it comes to getting into whatever business investments, what was that decision like for you, bro? Like, because I don't have those type of like placements in the world like I used to have. I had a house or whatever. I sold it. So how's that for you? How's that been for you? Outside of the money part, just the business part.
Like obviously the business part is great, like learning something new. Like it's always something I wanted to do. Like even as a kid, just growing up, I always knew I wanted to own something. Like my dream was to play in the NFL, be a wide receiver. That was my dream, but obviously that didn't happen. But I always felt like I did want to own something. Like maybe I own a club, something. I'm into shoes and fashion, maybe a clothing store, something like that.
For sure.
And the vending machines was always something I wanted to do. So when I first got out, I went into insurance. That's another like entrepreneurial type thing, like business. But who I was with, I really wasn't feeling it. It was like it wasn't a good match for me. So then I went into real estate, and I really love that. That's another thing that I really love. That's like one of my passions is real estate. So I got my license in Tucson, and just when I was getting like my feet wet, I had done 3 deals. I helped one of my buddies sell his house, and I helped 2 buy a house. And then like a month later, my wife said, "Oh, I got this assignment to England," and I was like, "Man." So this is what
and now we're here.
2018. I had got my license. Then like May of 2019, I was leaving to go overseas. So that was just like a little backstory on entrepreneurship. But yeah, when it comes to
and I didn't know that, so yeah, I appreciate you including that.
Like I seen it, and I was like, man, I did some research, something I always wanted to do. And like I said, when it comes to those, it's really based on location. Like everything is based on the location, how much is going to be used. Because my best location is an apartment complex, and that does double the usage than all the other locations. So like I told you a few weeks ago, I'm going to work out the logistics. So I got to probably move a couple of them around to get some more profits. But I'm definitely enjoying it because at the end of the day, when you have like entrepreneurship, like basically your family sees that. Your kids see that. Like my son goes with me and helps me, does it sometimes. I mean, I have one at a barbershop that we go to, and my son my youngest, he wanted some candy. And he was like, "Dad, can I get some candy?" I was like, "That's yours."
Right.
Like that's going to be yours someday. Like that's something that you own. Like I have it, but it can get passed down to you. So it made my heart feel because he kind of smiled when I said that.
Yeah.
"How's that mine, Daddy?" And I was like, "Well, I bought them and I do this, and one day it can get passed down to you and you can do whatever you want to do with it." So that's another thing like that. Not saying this building generational wealth, but just having that mindset and that idea to want to do that.
Say it does, because I don't know where we get this idea of property and all these things of that you can see, that you can obtain is just generational wealth. It's meant. If you ever look at anybody watch this, go to my IG. I'll put mental wealth. This conversation is building us, even public speaking. You know, not every word I say or articulate or enunciate is going to be on point. I'm an aspiring English teacher, and I'm going to say that until I'm aspiring. I'm an aspiring social worker. I'm an aspiring father. Like I'm still working on being a father. I just had a new kid less than 2 years ago. So now I'm a father of a son. You know, I went from 2 daughters who you probably can hear, but now I have a son. Yo,
I never know that feeling. That's
yes, having the girls, man. Like it's, and I speak on this, which many people may not know. I don't mind talking about it. My first daughter was my wife's daughter before I came around. So I don't want to use the word play, but assuming the role as a stepfather initially, and understanding that I have to set the example for her that she needs, not that I want to display, not what I went through. High school child like you, and then it was some time in between. I'm watching babies come into, like, my brothers come into my life, and I'm like, not where y'all coming from, but like, okay, we barely got enough right now. Like, so we got divided up to more people. And back to what I was saying before my daughters disrupted me. I didn't like that he kind of gave the reins to someone who wasn't already there. And not to bash my dad. Shout out to my dad, excuse me, who's growing and still learning to live his life. But what my point is, when we do get positions, none of us had a marriage book. I don't care how many books you see behind me. There's some marriage books in there. I got Jay Barnett, Just Hill, bro, and that's great. But when you get in that position and you become that, whatever that's supposed to be, parent, father, husband, wife, for women too, when you become that, that's when it starts. That's when you have to make certain decisions. Even with, I'm sure that moment with you is something he may forget, but you won't forget that time he asked for candy, basically something that's his, and something you told him was, that's yours, son. Like, yes, that's building the wealth in his mind. He understands that he can own something too. And that's important. So I appreciate not only that you shared that with me, the hint with him, but with me as well, because this is the point of this for me. Us getting that out. Like, I don't know how many people you told that to, but now you can tell the world, because that's what I want. The impact of this show is more important to me than how many people it reaches or how many subscribers I get. I want it to be impactful for those who care to watch, for those who care to listen. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I got so much other stuff going on, bro. Like, say that again.
That Tupac comment is like, you don't want to, like, you just touch one, that's enough. I forgot how exactly it goes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I'm not trying to reach everybody, but if you touch one and change one, that's enough.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, it may not be enough, but it's a lot, because you get people sit in their rooms all day. They sit on their phones all day, scrolling. And that, what I asked you earlier, like when you following people, like I think about my my following, like who I'm following, and sometimes I have to like, when I was, when Instagram first started, I kind of followed them because I like this sport, or I seen them hustling on their way up. I use these examples often. Desi Banks, Haha Davis. Who else was in the game on IG? DC Young Fly, but he was on Vine. And then to see him transition over, B Simone, all these people who have since made their own content, Drewski, doing like hood videos. If y'all haven't seen Drewski and Desi Banks on the hood video, you ever watch that on YouTube? It's Desi Banks, but Drewski is like a feature on there. But like, I like seeing stuff like that. Like, wow, these dudes work together at some point, and then they, all went and did their own thing. It's almost like how the old school singers used to do. One go solo, and then another go solo. Like New Edition down there. Yeah. So I love seeing that. And even like you said, you were already in place in England when I got there. So I was thankful to have basically a big bro. Somebody that kind of knew the lay of the land, although we were living in different locations. That was completely fresh and new to both of us. Did you ever have an overseas assignment before?
Yeah, so that was my second one. I only did a year in Korea. Other than that,
Korea, okay,
yeah, a couple deployments, but never had like a whole 3 to 4 year assignment anywhere.
That's tough on the mind. It's tough on the psyche, man. Like, I got there, it was like you saw the pandemic coming.
No.
I was
I'm totally lying. I did do one in Masao, Japan. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so from 2012 to 2016, we were in Masao, Japan. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. My bad.
Yeah, you good. You good. I saw it, but that's a perfect example. You do forget, like, if once now you done moved around so much. Every 2 or 3 years, 3-4 years, you are moving around. You cannot get stationary. So even having moments like this where you can stop and be at ease and have someone connect your stories or tell you, hey, nah, it didn't go that way. Because in your head, you always thought, I said this to that person, or I didn't offend you. Like, yeah, you not only did you offend them, they went back and told somebody about it. And you ruined the situation, or that one thing you said to them, they still do that to this day because of your routine. they looked at you and said, you know what, I'm gonna try that as well. I hope I truly, it's my big hope for this podcast and whatever else that we do, encourages others. In some to some capacity. And you don't have to use it all right now. You don't have to do it today. But I'm gonna support it if I see that you're doing that. And so that kind of brought my point back to who I follow. Not saying that these people, once they hit 1 million followers or get to this point, that they don't need it. But at the same time, my people need me as J Wandoe more than those people. I can give them some attention, more attention, and be more attentive to the needs of people I actually know. And I think that's what even this meeting right here has brought together. We know each other. We kicked it, ate each other's food, been in each other's houses, or at least I've been to your house. But like that's important.
It's important. One time, I needed that too, bro. I was like, man, that was clutch.
Right. I mean, dog, I shared this story. Like, we went on a run right before because Melvin left. He got there earlier. He left after me. And this is coming out of the pandemic. I got there in January of 21. And so when did you leave? Like 23? Like in the
we left June 23.
June 23. So summertime. And we went on a long, we had scheduled out, we need to do this. We never got to it, but we went on a run together and shared some intimate conversations. And before I go to, I'm going to go deep into the story, but I want to say, like, thank you for opening your heart to me as far as expressing where you were at that moment, because for some of us, men, women, as we get older, we tend to almost be embarrassed of what we've been through, as if no one else goes through things. Like, you think we just got here on circumstance or off of just pure sheer luck, off of no kind of heartache and hardships. We're not even talking about the childhood stuff. That could be, people got childhood issues that go way back. I'm talking about maybe the time they were, like you said, high school parents. We both have that common bond. That's not good, but that means that our parents really didn't have time for us. They couldn't really put into us what we wanted to be. So you wanted to be a wide receiver and me wanted to be a point guard somewhere. That's not, I couldn't have done it. I never got that nurturing, that push for it. But aside from all that, as adults, we think we have it together, and we don't have nobody to talk to about what happened. We love to gossip. We love to tell people about themselves and look at other people's lives. However, what can we get out and share with the world that could help somebody? And that admission, like being able to say, you know what, let me tell somebody about it. I trust this person. So, that's just that in itself. Yeah.
You said
I trust
the word.
Yeah.
So I trusted you enough to share that with you because, like you said, we have a lot in common. We different people, but our situations are so similar to where we almost the same.
Yeah.
In that aspect. And like you said, it was all about trusting you. And I also use the situation I've been through as testimony too. But I'm gonna tell a story from when I was in Japan. I don't think it was testimony, but I just used it to, hey, maybe she'll go through this someday and she can look back on it like, hey, my supervisor told me this. I can use this, either related to it or unrelated, but it can direct me in the right way. So I told one of my troops there, female troop, the last crew I had, I was a weapons guy, so we worked in cruiser threes. So the last crew I had was 2 females. And this one was a young black female. And she was just asked, I don't know how we got on the topic, but obviously we on like the topic of marriage. I think she was about to get married to one of the guys in the shop. And I just kind of just told her some of the stuff I had been through, like good and the bad, like what my mistakes I made, stuff I had to forgive, stuff I had to be forgiven for. And she appreciated me for sharing that with her. Like I said, all you gotta do, as long as you trust that person, I feel like they're coming from a good space. I'm an open book, bro.
No, that's real. And I sometimes listen to myself because obviously this is my podcast, but I have people on, right? And I'm starting to lose a little bit, which is good. at one point, I used to always think like, am I saying the right things to these people? That's another reason why I like having it recorded, so I can see myself. Because if I'm just talking on a mic, I'm not really processing it. But right now, I'm processing it in real time. And if I say this one thing, if anybody listening to this hears a little bit of concern in my voice, it really is concern. Like, it's not me. I'm not just talking. I'm not one of those people who has like a script. I have little notes here and there, but we're probably not even talking about what I started to talk about, because that's really not how conversations work. I wanted to make it as organic as possible, because we have to be the people who save each other. And just like we talk about where you direct your energy and where you direct your conversation, you're not always going to reach people. You can be in a club, you can be at a party, you can be in a room and be 10 people in there, and maybe only 2 people even listening to you, for one. And of those 2 people, only 1 person heard you. So if you can get that 1 person to have that conversation with you, hey, you golden. Even if you do put something out there in the world and it just goes out, again, somewhere in the crowd, this basically like leaving like a time capsule, man. Like, I just love this space we in. And also, like you said, having that trust and being able to say, you know what, I can reach out to you, text you, call you, basically keep people from going too far left or right. You can only do so much, obviously, but if you can just give them that word, and I agree that that's a testimony. You saving her, just, even if she don't apply, she can say, hey, I talked to my sergeant about their situation. What do you think about it? Well, he don't know what he's talking about. That could be a response, or it can be, wow, like that's glad. I'm glad that you took the time to do that. I'm sure, like you, I got so many titles. I'm a marriage counselor sometimes. I'm a big brother. I'm a little brother. I just serve so many different places. So I'm like, why not put it into the world? Why not put out not just me, what other people have to share? So the gratitude is always there, bro. And you definitely have, just in this past week or so, since we reconnected, because we took some months of time where we had talked, but it was nothing like I ain't rocking with him and nothing like that. It's just space, so being able to come on today, that makes me feel just amazing. And I appreciate the time more than anything else. And then the trust that we can speak about anything to me, and then also being willing to share it. So gratitude is there, my brother.
All right, and it's the same thing for you. Like I said, it's all about that trust. And I know, I trust you. I know you trust me. And like I said, we've been supposed to have that call like a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I guess it was on God's time. The timing was perfect, and it led to this. So I'm honored. It was a pleasure to be here with you. And hey, you got any more topics? Because it's a lot that we can talk about, honestly. Hey,
we're gonna definitely, yeah, we're gonna resurface. But again, I mentioned this sometimes. Attention span. So if you get to this a year from now, just understand we are in a upward, trajectory. Regardless of what we talk about, it's all for the love. It's all for the benefit and the glory of what God has done already. So I don't want to. If you resurface back here, what is almost August? Let's say August of 2024, and you don't hear this till next year or the year after that. You understand that J Wandoe and Melvin, those 2 brothers can have conversation. They have argued before about certain things that were trivial, but they also have shown love to each other, and it is possible. I think I hear it a lot, like how Black men can't get along, or can't. It doesn't always take a common bond, but it definitely helps when you can say, "Hey, man, I went through this too." Oh yeah, how did you get through it, or what you going through right now? So let's talk about it. I don't have that with people that I've had relationships with in most of my life. I don't know if they just don't want to understand it, and I don't know if you can feel the same way. But this don't happen that often where you can just link up with people. But that's a whole nother topic too. But definitely, being put in place where you are and knowing how to handle that, I think is important. Being able to adapt. I wish you the best in. Have you applied? Have you tried to tap into like a recruiter or anything as far as trying to go back in?
Yeah. So I already been talking to a recruiter for like probably 3 months or so now.
Okay.
Obviously, with me working and doing the machine stuff, ain't moving as fast as I want, and I'm retaking the ASVAB because when I took it in high school, I wasn't thinking about going to the military.
Neither was I, brother.
I just wanted to get out of class, honestly. So I was like, hey, I'll go. But then it was like, this is a 3-hour test. I looked at the time, I'm going to be at school longer than if I just stayed in class. But yeah, so I want to get that so I can get, obviously I don't want the job I had when I was in. Nobody's trying to go back to the flight line. I want something I can retire and transition and do on the outside. So I'm studying hard on my electronic portion so I can get that one of them communication jobs, get in like cyber or something like that. Fingers crossed. So hey, it's all in God's will. So I can do that, retire, and then I can come out and work cybersecurity somewhere. I'll start my own firm. You never know. But
hey, speak on it, man. And you had what, 13 years in active?
Yes, so I had 12-9 active. Everybody probably, man, why'd you get out? Why'd you get out? But that's another story.
Whole nother story, for another day. But yeah, the biggest thing about all that before we close out is that you have an idea. I'm pretty sure coming into the game, and I say the game of the military, the Air Force, going into it, like you said with the ASVAB, I'm just trying to get up out of here. We didn't have really a clue about what we needed to do as far as people, how we were viewed, what jobs we need to go into, because we going into, I was civil engineering and served as equipment operator, aka dirt boy. Being a dirt boy was a honor for some people. I didn't feel that way. I didn't take it that way. The people around me, it was a highly toxic environment. I'm not saying the job itself, but the environment was toxic. It was people you go into it already looked at and viewed to fail, to stay down in a certain position. And that was something that I chose to say, you know what, I'm going to take this until I can't anymore. I did have opportunities to remove myself, but I chose not to. I chose to try to stick it out. And I'm glad I did for the time I did. But basically just y'all out there who, and it's been one advice I like to give, a little bit of advice, a little bit of insight, for especially people younger, under the age of 35. I just say that. If you in that phase and you haven't reached that level of knowing what you want to do yet, the big thing is, like Melvin spoke on, he have an idea of what you can do until, doing after the job. It's great to make money. It's great to get into something easy. Oh, I can apply for that and get into it. But you really need to have a passion for some part of your job. And that also has to, now you got one almost grown kid, so considering their schedules, considering now that you may not have the time that you had before to really tap into everything, because now the military, wearing the uniform again, like all that stuff, all those things have to be considered. Cut your hair. Oh man, I know that's for me. That would be tough right now because I put some work in this thing, man. So that'd be tough. So, but I know that's part of the sacrifice. So I know you'll make it happen, bro, and I know you'll be successful. Get to it, bro. And that'll conclude this episode. This is again J Wandoe, my boy Melvin from we're not too far from each other. I'm down here in Texas. You want to disclose your state?
I'm in Kansas.
He's in Kansas, so we're gonna end up linking up. Probably do a live at some point, like a live, like one-on-one. I hope that happens. But in between that time, we'll check back in, brother. Got anything else you want to leave the people with, my bro?
I would just say, just strive for everything you want, man. Like, no matter how hard life may get, just keep pushing, because as long as you stay consistent with that, just whatever you working at, gym, work, career, you do that work, the outcome is going to be what you need and what you deserve.
Sounds simple, but consistency is how we got here. So peace and love. You know who it is. J Wandoe. It's the Dope Spot. Melvin, we signing off. Salute to you. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.